The roar of the crowd hit like a freight train. But Jacob couldn't hear it over the thunder in his chest. In that split second, as the ball spiraled toward him under the stadium lights of Eldridge College's Friday night inferno, he knew this was a moment that could shatter everything or stitch his broken world back together. Sweat stung his eyes. His cleats dug into the turf like roots refusing to yield. And as his fingers wrapped around the leather, a lifetime of secrets screamed for release. He wasn't just playing for a win. He was playing for the right to exist. Jacob had always been the glue of the Eldridge Eagles, the unassuming quarterback from the Rust Belt town of Harlan, Ohio, where Friday nights meant bonfires and dreams of gridiron glory. At 22, with his broad shoulders honed from endless drills and his quick wit that could disarm a locker room brawl, he was the guy everyone leaned on until the whispers turned to shouts. It started small. A stolen glance in the showers that lingered too long on Ryan, the cocky wide receiver with the easy smile and tattooed arms that made Jacob's stomach flip like a bad pass. They'd hooked up once, after a road win in Pittsburgh, fumbling in the dark of a motel room with the taste of cheap beer and fear on their lips. It was messy, electric, the kind of secret that burned brighter than any touchdown light. But secrets don't stay buried in a town where football is God. Ryan panicked the next morning, shoving Jacob away with a hiss. This can't happen again. Man. We're teammates. Jacob nodded, swallowing the ache, telling himself it was just one night. Just a glitch in the armor. He threw himself into practice, barking plays with that steady voice that masked the storm inside. The Eagles were undefeated that fall, climbing the ranks toward the conference championship. And Jacob was their engine until Coach Harlan caught wind. Not from Ryan, who played the straight arrow card like a pro, but from a teammate's loose lips, fueled by post-game shots at the Rusty Anchor. The confrontation came on a Tuesday, rain lashing the field house windows like accusations. Coach Harlan, a barrel-chested relic from the glory days with a mustache that hid his sneer, called Jacob into his office. The door clicked shut, and the air thickened. Son, I've heard things. Things that don't fly in this program. You understand what I'm saying. Jacob's throat closed, his rehearsed denials crumbling under the weight of those eyes that had once praised his spirals but now dissected him like roadkill. It's not true, Coach. I swear. But the lie tasted like ash, and Harlan's sigh was a guillotine. You're off the team, Jacob. Effective immediately. We can't have distractions. Not with the big game Friday. The words landed like a blindside hit, knocking the wind from him. Jacob stumbled out into the downpour, the rain mixing with hot tears he wouldn't let fall. The locker room emptied fast after that guy's avoiding his gaze, mumbling excuses about family dinners or study groups. Ryan lingered longest, his face a mask of regret and relief. But when Jacob reached for him, desperate for some anchor, Ryan recoiled. Dude, this is bigger than us. Just go. The door slammed, echoing Jacob's isolation. A 22-year-old kid with a duffel bag of gear and a heart cracked wide open. He drove aimlessly that night, the wipers slapping rhythmically against the windshield as Harlan's lights blurred into streaks. The radio droned classic rock anthems about rebels and redemption. But Jacob felt none of it, just the gnawing void where his team, his purpose, had been. Football wasn't just a game. It was his rebellion against a father who'd walked out when he was 10, muttering about weak boys who cry. It was the roar that drowned out the taunts from high school hallways. The brotherhood that promised he'd never be alone. And now, alone didn't cover it. He was invisible, erased. By dawn, parked on the edge of Lake Erie, the waves crashing like unanswered prayers, Jacob made his choice. He wouldn't slink away. Not after pouring his soul into those plays. Not after loving Ryan in silence for 2 seasons. Tracing the curve of his jaw in fevered dreams. If they wanted him gone, fine, but he'd go out on his terms. The championship game against rivals Milford State loomed. A blood feud etched in Eldridge lore. The Eagles needed him. Without their quarterback, they were a headless chicken. Jacob texted his roommate, Ellie, a lanky sociology major with rainbow pins on his backpack and a knack for bad puns, cover for me. Say I'm sick. Eli's reply buzzed instant. Dude. What happened? Hell yes. But you okay? Jacob typed back. Fingers trembling. Not yet. But I will be. Wednesday blurred into a haze of solitary drills on an empty field, his throws slicing the crisp autumn air with vicious precision. Each one carried the what-ifs. What if he'd come out sooner? What if Ryan had fought for them? But anger fueled him, sharpening his footwork, his reads. He spotted Eli watching from the bleachers, bundled in a hoodie, and for the first time in days, a ghost of a smile tugged at Jacob's lips. Eli had been his quiet ally since freshman year, the one who'd caught him staring at guys in the quad and just shrugged. Love's love. Man. Own it. No judgment. Just space. That night, over greasy diner fries, Eli leaned in. You gonna show up Friday? Bench or not? They can't ignore you forever. Jacob's laugh was bitter. They already have. But Eli's eyes, warm and unwavering, sparked something, a flicker of the romance he'd buried deep. Not with Ryan, the flame out, but with this steady presence who'd seen him all along. As they walked back to the dorms under street lamps casting long shadows, Eli's hand brushed his, lingering. You're not alone, Jake. Not if you don't want to be. The touch was tentative, electric, a promise unspoken. Jacob's pulse raced, but he pulled back gently. I want to. God, I do. But right now, I need to win first. Thursday's practice was a farce without him. Whispers rippling through the huddle like wind through cornstalks. Coach Harlan barked orders, his voice strained, eyes darting to the sidelines where Jacob stood in street clothes, arms crossed, a silent specter. Ryan avoided him entirely, his passes wobbling like his resolve. The team felt a fracture, the missing heartbeat. In the locker room, tensions boiled. Tyler, the burly lineman with a heart of gold under his bravado, slammed his helmet down. This is bullshit. Coach, Jake's our guy. Whatever he is, he bleeds green. Murmurs rose, but Harlan shut it down. Focus on Milford. That's what matters. Night fell heavy. Jacob pacing his room, the championship poster mocking him from the wall, last year's heroes hoisting the trophy under fireworks. His phone lit up, a text from his mom. Back in Harlan. Her words a lifeline. Heard about the team. Baby. Proud of you no matter what. Kick ass tomorrow. Tears pricked. But he swiped them away. This wasn't just for her. Or Eli's quiet faith. Or even Ryan's ghost. It was for the kid he'd been. Hiding crushes behind shoulder pads. Praying acceptance came in cleats. Friday dawned sharp and cold. The stadium buzzing with tailgates and face paint. The scent of grilled brats and anticipation thick in the air. Jacob suited up in secret. His old jersey a second skin. Slipping into the shadows of the visitor tunnel as the Eagles took the field. The coin toss echoed. Milford's smug captain grinning like he'd already won. Harlan's face paled when he saw Jacob emerge. But before he could protest, the ref's whistle pierced the din. Chaos erupted, refs huddling. Fans roaring, but Jacob was already in motion. Snatching the ball from a stunned Ryan's hands. My field. He growled. Voice steady as steel. The crowd hushed. Then exploded as he dropped back. Eyes scanning the defense like a hawk. The first play was poetry, a bullet to Tyler, who rumbled for 15 yards. The line holding like they'd never wavered. Jacob's calls rang out. Crisp and commanding. Pulling the team into sync as if the rejection had never happened. Milford charged. But he danced spin. Juke. Launch a 30-yard strike to a wide-open receiver. Touchdown. The stadium quaked. But it was the sideline that shifted, teammates glancing his way. Not with pity, but hunger. Ryan's eyes met his across the turf. A storm of apology and awe. Halftime loomed with the score knotted at 14-14. Sweat slicking Jacob's skin as he chugged water in the tunnel. Eli found him there, slipping through the chaos with a stolen Gatorade. You're a fucking legend. Eli breathed, his hand on Jacob's arm, thumb tracing a vein that sent sparks up his spine. Up close, Eli's freckles stood out like stars, his lanky frame solid in the dim light. After this, we talk. For real. Jacob nodded, throat tight. Yeah. For real. The kiss that followed was brief. Fiercey a seal on the vulnerability he'd armored for years. Lips brushing. Worlds colliding. The taste of salt and possibility. The second half was war. Milford's defense swarmed like hornets, sacking Jacob twice. Bruises blooming on his ribs like dark flowers. But he rose each time, grit in his teeth, whispering plays that bent the game to his will. On 3rd and long, with 2 minutes left and the Eagles down by 3, he faked a handoff, rolled out, and spotted Ryan streaking free trust forged in fire. The ball arced perfect, nestling into Ryan's hands for the game winner. 6 points that silenced the rivals and ignited the night. As the gun sounded, 27-24 Eagles. Jacob collapsed to his knees, turf grinding into his pads. The roar of baptism. They mobbed him, then Tyler hoisting him up. The line engulfing him in bare hugs that squeezed the doubt from his bones. Even Harlan approached. Hand extended. Voice gruff. You stubborn son of a bitch. Welcome back. But it was Ryan who broke through last. Eyes red-rimmed. Pulling Jacob aside amid the confetti storm. I was scared. Jake. Of me. Of us. But watching you. Fuck. You changed everything. The words hung. Raw and real. But Jacob stepped back. glancing at Eli in the stands, waving wildly. Maybe we both did. But I'm done hiding. The after-party spilled into the Rusty Anchor. Beers flowing like forgiveness. Stories retold with exaggerated flair. Jacob held court, but his eyes sought Eli, who arrived fashionably late, sliding onto the stool beside him with a grin that lit the dim bar. Told you you'd win, Eli murmured, their knees touching under the table. A private victory. As the night deepened, confessions tumbled out Ryan's quiet admission of regret, turning into a handshake that closed the chapter. Teammates sharing their own shadows. A lineman admitting his brother's struggle. A cornerback nodding to a flag pin on his keychain. The room softened, walls crumbling under the weight of truths long carried alone. Jacob and Eli slipped out as dawn crept in, walking the dew-kissed streets of Eldridge, hands finally intertwined without fear. What now? Eli asked, voice soft against the quiet. Jacob squeezed his fingers, the championship ring heavy in his pocket, a talisman not just of glory, but grace. Now we build. Team. Us. All of it. Under the fading stars. Their kiss unfolded slow and sure. A promise etched in the American heartland. Love wasn't a distraction. It was the play that won the game. The morning after the championship dawned with a hangover haze over Eldridge. But for Jacob, it was clarity sharp as a fresh cleat. He woke tangled in Eli's sheets. The sociology major's apartment, a cluttered haven of books and protest posters. Sunlight slanting through blinds to paint stripes on their bare skin. Eli stirred, his head on Jacob's chest, murmuring, "Morning, champ," with a sleepy smile that made Jacob's heart stutter. Last night's victory felt distant. Like a dream etched in newsprint, the headlines blaring. Eagles soar on prodigal QB's return, but this. The warmth of Eli's breath. The tentative exploration of fingers tracing collarbones. Was achingly real. They lingered in bed, trading stories over coffee black as midnight. Eli confessed his own coming-out war, disowned briefly by a conservative aunt in Cleveland, only to rebuild bridges with letters that bled honesty. It gets better, he said, echoing the mantra that had saved Jacob in dark high school nights. But it starts with you. Jacob nodded, vulnerability cracking open like an egg. He spoke of Ryan not with bitterness, but the ache of first love's illusion. He was my safe harbor, until the storm hit. Thought it meant something. Eli's eyes held no jealousy, just empathy. It did. To you. That's enough. By noon, the world intruded, texts from Tyler piling up, demanding a team brunch. Coach Harlan's curt email reinstating him with a scholarship bump. Jacob's laugh echoed off the kitchen tiles. Like I need their pity points now. But Eli pushed gently. Take it. Fight from inside, not out. Wisdom from a guy who quoted Audre Lorde over pancakes. Jacob was hooked. Deeper than any spiral pass. They dressed slow, stealing kisses that tasted of future, and headed to the diner where the team waited. The Rusty Anchor was packed, jerseys slung over booths like flags of truce. Tyler waved them in, his massive frame dwarfing the vinyl seats. A picture of OJ sweating on the table. There's the man. And Eli. Right. The wizard behind the curtain. Laughter rippled, warmer than before. The undercurrent of acceptance humming like a tuning fork. Ryan sat at the end, nursing a coffee, his usual swagger muted. When Jacob slid in across from him, the air thickened, but Ryan met his gaze square. About the other night. I froze. Jake. Wasn't fair to you. To anyone. Jacob held up a hand. Peace settling like dust. Water under the bridge. We're good. Conversation flowed easy after that place dissected. Milford roasted. Dreams of NFL scouts whispered. But midway through, Tyler cleared his throat. The room hushing. Look. We all saw what went down. Coach's call was crap. Jake. You're one of us, gay. Straight. Whatever. Doesn't change the snap count. Nods circled the table. A cornerback adding. My cousin's queer. Hiding it kills him. We got your back now. The words landed soft. Revolutionary in their simplicity. Turning the diner into a confessional. Jacob's throat tightened. Eli's hand finding his under the table. A silent anchor. Afternoon brought practice. The field a cathedral of second chances. Harlan pulled Jacob aside. Mustache twitching. That stunt Friday. Reckless. But damn if it didn't work. No apology. But the grip on his shoulder lingered. Paternal in its gruff way. Drills hummed with new rhythm. Passes zipping true. Laughter punctuating the grind. Ryan ran routes like redemption. His catches fierce. And when they collided in a huddle, fist bumping with genuine spark, Jacob felt the fracture heal not seamless, but strong. Evening found them at Eli's again. Pizza boxes strewn like battle plans. They talked futures, Jacob eyeing coaching post-grad. Channeling his fire into kids who hid like he once did. Eli plotting grad school. Activism laced with poetry. Their bodies spoke louder. Those slow dances in the living room to Springsteen crooning about Thunder Roads. Hands mapping territories long denied. When Eli whispered, I love you, against Jacob's neck. It wasn't a bomb, but a homecoming. Jacob pulled back. Eyes shining. Love you too. Scary as hell. But yeah. Weeks blurred into winter's grip on Eldridge. Frost etching the goalposts like fragile lace. But the Eagles' momentum held. Jacob thrived in the reinstated rhythm. His throws carving the chill air. Each one a defiance of the doubts that had nearly sidelined him. Off-field. Life wove new threads, study dates with Eli turning into marathons of laughter and late-night debates on everything from Foucault to fantasy football. Their romance bloomed quiet. Authentic, no grand gestures. Just shared hoodies on bleacher walks. Fingers laced during campus protests where Eli's megaphone voice rallied for equality. Jacob's presence a steady drumbeat. But shadows lingered. Ryan's glances in the locker room carried weight. A mix of camaraderie and unspoken what-ifs. One post-practice steam session. As towels snapped and banter flew, Ryan cornered him by the sinks. Seeing you with Eli? It's good. Real good. His voice cracked. Vulnerability peeking through the jock facade. Jacob clapped his shoulder. Brotherly. You deserve that too. Man. When you're ready. Ryan nodded. Eyes distant. But the tension eased. Evolving into the easy ribbing of old. The real storm brewed off-field, in Harlan's underbelly where small-town minds clung to old hates. Graffiti scarred Jacob's truck one dawn, fag QB crayoned in hate's ugly scrawl. He stared at it, gut twisting. But Eli found him there, coffee in hand. Bastards. Eli spat. But Jacob straightened, resolve hardening. Let him talk. I've got a team now. They washed it off together, suds and spite swirling down the drain, emerging stronger, their kiss under the hose of vow against the venom. Coach Harlan called a team meeting that week, the field house humming with unease. Rumors of boosters grumbling about distractions had surfaced, whispers threatening scholarships. Harlan paced, face thunderous. This program's about heart, not headlines. Anyone got a problem with Jacobir, any of you being who you aerators that way? Silence. Then applause erupted, Tyler leading the charge with a whoop that shook the rafters. It was a turning point. The coaches stand a bridge over the chasm. Spring break loomed. I exhale before the draft buzz. Jacob and Eli escape to Eli's family cabin in the Smokies. Tennessee's hills a green bomb. Days blurred in hikes and hearth fires. Nights in tangled sheets where Eli's touches map Jacob's scars literal and not. You're beautiful, Eli murmured one evening, tracing the bruise from a brutal hit, his lips following. Jacob arched, whispering confessions, the terror of his first crush, the loneliness of prom skipped. Eli listened, holding him through tears. Their union a symphony of healing slow builds to crashing releases. Love's language fluent at last. Back in Eldridge, the team rallied for Pride Week, a first for the program. Jacob emceed the campus event, voice steady under rainbow banners. Sharing his story raw, I hid because I feared losing you. But losing myself hurt worse. Cheers thundered. Ryan in the front row, clapping fierce. Eli beamed from the side, pride swelling his chest. That night, under stadium lights dimmed for a vigil, they danced Jacob and Eli, silhouettes against the glow. Hands clasped as teammates joined, a circle of light in the dark. Yet drama simmered. A scout from Cleveland Browns visited practice, eyes on Jacob's arm. But whispers followed. Can he handle the spotlight? The lifestyle. Jacob overheard in the parking lot, fury igniting. He confronted the guy later. Polite steel. My throw's what matters. Rest is noise. The scout backed off, but the seed of doubt rooted. Eli sensed the shift, pulling him close that night. You're enough. Always. Their lovemaking was fierce, reclaiming. Jacob's hands worshipping Eli's body, the curve of hip, the pulse at throatas if etching permanence. Dawn brought resolve. Jacob would chase the dream, but on his terms, with Eli as co-captain. Summer scorched Eldridge, turning the fields to baked earth. But Jacob's fire burned hotter. He trained solo at first. Dawn runs along the river where willows wept secrets. His body a machine tuned for glory. Eli joined when he could, their jogs dissolving into splash fights. Laughter echoing off water like freedom's call. Romance deepened in those lazy months picnics in the quad where Eli read poetry aloud. Jacob's head in his lap, fingers combing hair. Midnight drives to Cleveland for underground queer shows. Bodies swaying to bass that thrummed with their heartbeats. Ryan evolved too. showing up at Jacob's door one humid evening. Six-pack in hand. Need to clear the air? For real. They sat on the porch. Stars pricking the sky. Beers sweating as words poured. Ryan admitted his bisexuality. Buried under frat boy expectations. A high school fling with a teammate haunting him. I pushed you away 'cause I saw myself in you scared shitless. Tears tracked his cheeks. And Jacob pulled him into a hug. No romance. Just release. Brother. He said simply. Ryan exhaled. Lighter. From then on, workouts became threesomes of sweat and stories. Ryan opening up. Even flirting harmlessly with Eli, who rolled eyes with affection. But the world beyond Eldridge tested them. Jacob's mom visited. Her Harlan drawl softening as she met Eli over pot roast. He's a keeper, she whispered later, hugging Jacob fierce. Proud of your brave heart. Tears flowed then. Paternal wounds salved by her grace. Yet Dad's shadow Lumita letter arriving. Kurt, heard you're playing the game different. Don't embarrass the name. Jacob burned it in the sink. Flames dancing like his rage. Eli's arms wrapping him from behind. He's wrong. You're legend. Fall semester crashed in with tryouts for the National Bowl. Scouts swarming like vultures. Jacob's arm dazzled. But pressure-mounted media sniffing his personal life. A local paper running a veiled hit piece. Eagles QB, talent or turmoil. Backlash hit socials. Trolls spewing bile. But supporters surged, alumni donations spiked. A viral video of the Pride rally racking views. Tyler organized a presser. Team flanking Jacob like sentinels. He's our leader. Tyler boomed. End of story. Eli's support anchored. But Strain showed his thesis deadlines clashing with Jacob's travel. Arguments flaring over missed calls. One night, after a blowout over Eli's protest march, Jacob stormed out, driving to the field alone. Rain lashed as he threw into the void. Each pass a plea. Eli found him hours later, soaked and shivering. I can't lose you to this, Eli said, voice breaking. Jacob dropped the ball, pulling him close. You're my why? Always. They made love in the truck. Windows fogged. Rain a curtain desperate. Reaffirming. Body speaking what words fumbled. The bowl bid came mid-season. A clash with powerhouse Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Excitement electrified Eldridge. Pep rallies thumping with chants. Jacob and Eli celebrated privately. A candlelit dinner turning intimate. Eli's hands exploring with reverence. To us. Eli toasted. Eyes gleaming. Jacob's response was a kiss that promised eternities. Game week in Pasadena was glamour and grind hotel suites overlooking palms. Press junkets where Jacob fielded barbs with wit. Football's universal, he quipped to a prying reporter. Love too. Eli flew out. Their stolen moments in sun-dappled gardens a respite. Hands linked as they wandered. Dreaming of post-grad life, a loft in Chicago. Coaching and causes intertwined. The Rose Bowl Stadium loomed like a coliseum under California's relentless sun. 90,000 souls packed tight. The air electric with rivalry's hum. Jacob stood in the tunnel, helmet in hand. Eli's good luck text buzzing his pocket. Own it. Love. Hearts forever. The Eagles emerged to thunder. Green jerseys a C. Jacob's number 7 a beacon. Oregon's Ducks quacked mockery. Their defense a wall of speed and spite. First quarter was a slugfest. Jacob's opening drive stalled by a blitz that rattled his cage. Ribs screaming from the hit. He shook it off, barking adjustments. But turnovers mounted. Score 7-0 Ducks. Sideline tension crackled. Harlan's face etched worry. But Jacob locked eyes with Ryan across the huddle. We got this. Second quarter flipped. A screen to Tyler bulldozed for 20. Then Jacob's bootleg scamper tying it at 7. Crowd roar vibrated bones. Eli's voice lost in the wave from the stands. Halftime in the locker room was Fire Harlan diagramming counters. But Jacob stood, voice cutting through. They're fast, but we're family. Play for that. Nods rippled. Resolve stealing. Third quarter exploded. Jacob dropped a 50-yard bomb to Ryan, who toe dragged into the end zone. 14-7 Eagles. Oregon answered. But Jacob's pick six returned leaping like a salmon. Ball clutched, desperate swung momentum. 21-14. Fourth quarter was apocalypse. Ducks tied it with 4 minutes left. Clock ticking like a bomb. Jacob orchestrated masterfully, draws eating yards. Play action freezing linebackers. On 2nd and 8. He rolled right. Eli's face flashing in Mind Love's gravity, pulling the throw. Ryan hauled it in, diving for the pylon. Touchdown. 28-21. Oregon's Hail Mary failed as time expired. Confetti raining like absolution. Jacob was swarmed, lifted on shoulders. The trophy heavy in his arms as flashes popped. Eli breached the field, leaping the barrier. Their embrace amid chaos, a world unto itself, lips meeting brief. Fierce. The kiss a headline in itself. Media swarmed post-game. But Jacob's words cut true. This wins for every kid hiding in the huddle. You're seen. Back in Eldridge. Parades wound through streets lined with pride flags. The town transformed. Ryan pulled Jacob aside at the banquet. Voice low. You made space for me to breathe. Thanks, brother. A hug sealed it. Futures diverging, but bonds eternal. Harlan cornered him later. Rare softness in his eyes. Proud. Son. Changed us all. Eli and Jacob's night was private hotel balcony overlooking the town. Champagne bubbling as they slow danced to a portable speaker's croon. Future's bright. Eli whispered. Hand on Jacob's heart. Jacob smiled. Scars faint now. Ours. Post-bowl glow faded into draft season's frenzy. Jacob's name whispered in NFL circles like a talisman. He and Eli relocated temporarily to a Columbus sublet, closer to combines and interviews. Their days a blur of agility drills and agent calls. Romance adapted quickies in gym showers after sessions. Lazy Sundays mapping tattoos on each other's skin. Eli's fingers tracing the eagle inked on Jacob's bicep. A nod to roots reclaimed. Challenges mounted. A conservative pundit on ESPN decrying agenda-driven athletes. Petitions circling online. Jacob fired back in a viral op-ed. Words raw. Football taught me brotherhood. Time it taught acceptance. Backlash stung. But support swelled leagues issuing statements. Celebs amplifying. Eli's pride swelled. Organizing a fundraiser for LGBTQ youth sports. Jacob headlining with stories that moved rooms to tears. Ryan visited once, fresh off his own draft to the Bengals. Beers shared on the balcony. Seeing you too. Inspires. He came out publicly weeks later. A quiet Instagram post with his boyfriend. Ripples hitting headlines. Jacob texted congrats. Heart full, chains broken in tandem. Personal storms brewed too. Jacob's dad resurfaced. Phoning after the op-ed. Voice gravel. Saw you on TV. Talking that. Stuff. Silence stretched. Then, halting, maybe I was wrong. Come home sometime. Jacob hung up trembling. Eli holding him through sobs. Healing's not linear. Eli soothed. Their night a tender reclaiming bodies entwined slow. Whispers weaving forgiveness. Draft night arrived in Chicago. Green room buzzing with suits and suspense. Eli gripped his hand under the table, thumb rubbing circles as names echoed. Round 1 passed. Tension coiling. Round 2. A scout's nod sparked hope. Then, pick 42, Cleveland Browns. Jacob's name boomed. Family erupting. Eli's kiss fierce amid cameras. You did it. Eli breathed. Tears mirroring Jacob's joy. Rookie camp in Berea was boot camp vets hazing. Playbook thicker than a Bible. Jacob shone. Arm crisp. But whispers persisted. Coach called him in. Heard about your story. Here. We play ball. Rest is yours. Acceptance. Hard one. Off-season. Eli joined in Ohio. Their apartment a nest of jerseys and journals. Dates dotted the calendar Guardians games where they cheered from nosebleeds. Hands hidden but hearts open. Quiet drives to Lake Erie. Echoes of that pivotal dawn. Intimacy deepened. Exploration's bold Eli's laugh echoing as Jacob mapped new pleasures. Love's curriculum endless. Mid-season. A scandal rocked the league, a teammate outed cruelly. Career teetering. Jacob rallied. Penning a player's letter for solidarity. Signatures pouring in. Ryan co-signed. Their duo a beacon. Eli beamed at the press conference. My hero. Mouthed silent. Thanksgiving brought Harlan homecoming mom's table groaning. Dad awkward but present. Carving turkey with shaky hands. Toasts clinked to new beginnings. Jacob's arm around Eli. Dad's not a fragile olive branch. Jacob's rookie year unfolded like a highlight reel laced with grit starts earned through moxie. A game-winning drive against the Steelers that had Cleveland chanting his name. But glory's underbelly bit. Injuries sidelined him twice. Media magnifying every fumble through his personal lens. Eli's steadiness was salve. Weekend flights bridging distance. Their reunions explosive hotel rooms wrecked with passion. Eli's body arching under Jacob's worship. Cries muffled in pillows. League life expanded horizons. Endorsements for inclusivity campaigns. Speeches at HRC galas where Jacob shared. Rejection forged me. Acceptance freed us. Eli by his side. Hand in his. Their partnership a quiet revolution panels on allyship. Eli's insights drawing applause. Tensions peaked mid-season. A Browns vet cornering Jacob post-loss. Keep the rainbow shit off field. Kid. Words landed like shrapnel. Doubt creeping. Eli found him in the tub that night. Ice packs floating. They're scared of change. You're the storm. Their bath turned intimate. Water sloshing as Eli straddled him. Movement slow. Eyes locked, affirmation in every thrust. Love's tide washing wounds. Ryan's path crossed at a charity game. Their QB receiver chemistry sparking laughs and lore. Over wings. Ryan confided wedding plans. Jacob teasing. About time you settled. Eli fits seamless. The trio reminiscing Eldridge nights. Bonds unbreakable. Personal milestone hit spring. Eli's proposal. Not on bended knee, but during a Lake Erie sunrise. Ring box in a thermos. Marry me. Build forever. Jacob's yes was a sob. Their engagement kiss salt sprayed. Waves applauding. Wedding planning wove summer small ceremony in Harlan. Mom's backyard blooming rainbow. Dad walked Jacob down the aisle. Voice thick. Love you. Son. Vows exchanged under oaks. Eli's, you're my home. Jacob's, my heart's quarterback. Dance floor swirled with teammates. Tyler twirling Eli. Ryan toasting to loves that win. Honeymoon in Provincetown, blurred days, beaches kissed by Atlantic. Nights in beachside bungalows where they explored unbound. Eli's whispers, mine, echoing in ecstasy. Return brought settled joy, Columbus House. Eli teaching. Jacob training. Second season dawn dominant. Jacob's stats soaring. But a concussion scare mid-game halted him. World tilting. Eli's vigil in the hospital. Hand clasped. Grounded him. Recovery was Eli's grace soup simmered. Stories read aloud. Intimacy gentle till strength returned. Their reunion a fire reignited. League honored him. Arthur Ashe Courage Award. Stage lights hot as Jacob spoke. One rejection sparked a revolution. Hearts change when we dare. Standing ovation. Eli's tears. Ryan's whoop from the crowd. Dad visited off-season. Fishing rods in hand. Talks turning tender apologies murmured over trout. I failed you. Jacob forgave. Hug ceiling mending. Years layered like championship rings. Jacob's career a tapestry of triumphs and trials, Super Bowl run in year 4. Confetti in a dome that drowned doubts forever. Eli's path paralleled, tenure track. Books on queer narratives flying off shelves. Their home a hub for young athletes seeking counsel. Dinners hosted stragglers from the team. Stories swapped over wine. Jacob's laugh booming. Eli's eyes twinkling with that same fire from dorm days. Challenges evolved, tabloid chases after a leaked photo. But they faced it linked. Statement crisp, our love's private. Our fight's public. Support surged. Brands aligning. A Kids Foundation launched Eldridge Eagles for Equality. Scholarships for LGBTQ hopefuls. Ryan officiated their vow renewal on year 5. Beachside in Ohio. Waves as witnesses. You two started it all, he said. His husband beaming beside. Tyler's family grew. Little ones toddling. Uncles Jacob and Eli spoiling ruthless. Paternity dreams stirred, surrogacy pursued. A son arriving pink and wailing. Named Harlan after the coach who'd bent. Diaper dashes and midnight feeds bonded them deeper. Eli's lullabies harmonizing Jacob's off-key hums. Fatherhood amplified purpose, Jacob coaching Pee-wee leagues. Emphasizing play true. Eli reading tales of heroes like them. Retirement loomed at 35. Arm nagged by miles. But legacy secure, Hall murmurs. Foundation thriving. Last game. Cleveland faithful chanted, one more year. But Jacob waved. Mic'd, time for new plays. Eli in the box. Tears flowing. Their eyes meeting across the roar. Post-career. They Minto Red podcast on sports and identity. Guest from Ryan to rookies spilling souls. Home life glowed, garden tended. Travels to Paris where Eli proposed again. Ring glinting Eiffel lit. Intimacy remained spark anniversaries wild. Exploring edges with trust's safety net. Harlan's coach days echoed dad's. But kinder, teams diverse. Pride integrated. Grandkids one day. But now. Quiet evenings on the porch. Eli's head on Jacob's shoulder. Sunset painting skies. Worth the rejection. Eli mused once. Jacob kissed his temple. Every tackle. Led here. Legacy rippled. Eldridge Stadium renamed Jacob Field. Plaque reading, Hearts won forever. Visits brought tears. Alums hugging, you changed us. In twilight years. Health faltered Jacob's knee. Eli's cough but love held. Hospital bed shared. Hands clasped. Final days. Jacob whispered. Best game ever. Eli's smile fading gentle. Epilogue etched in stars, their story. A testament trajection's sting to victory's embrace. Hearts forever altered. Love the ultimate score.